right, everybody, welcome back and happy Thursday. The post-election media meltdown has been a joy to watch over the last 5 weeks, hasn't it? As we get closer to Inauguration Day, January 20th, 2025, some of the most prominent talking heads over on the left are starting to open up and acknowledge the fact that there's a shift away from malicious network television. Listen to one Van Jones say the quiet part out loud.
We are way off. The entire political class is way off. First of all, digital is a new door knocking. You got to understand that. We were laughing our butts off at Donald Trump for suspending his door knocking campaign and letting Charlie Kirk and Elon do a bunch of stuff online. We said, these guys are idiots. These guys are stupid. Then you start knocking on these doors. You know what people come to the door with? Their phone in their hand. They're in a 24-hour digital surround sound that has nothing to do with CNN, has nothing to do with any stuff that we do. I asked I got a teenage son, I asked him, who are the most influential people in the world today? I'm thinking to myself, he's going to say Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z. He says, Kai Cent, Aiden Ross, Jinxie, and Sketch. I don't know who he's talking about. I said, what platforms are you on? He goes, I'm on Twitch, Kick, and Rumble. I said, that sounds like you need to go to the hospital. What are these platforms? I'm telling you guys, the mainstream has become fringe, and the fringe has become mainstream.
So Van Jones, I think Jeff Bezos gave Van Jones $100 million for his charity, his foundation. Van Jones is a very well-respected, left-leaning, far-left commentator for CNN. Van Jones is 100% correct. This shift is massive. There's a massive shift towards more accessible and uncensored media. And it started years ago, but the relentless lying and fear-mongering by mainstream media and Democrats has accelerated the process. Not that it'll ever be too late, but join us here now, folks. The digital world is growing by the minute. People are re-embracing their right to free speech, and that's what this is. Again, I'll say it again. It doesn't matter what you watch for cable news. It doesn't matter if you watch CNN, MSNBC, or even Fox. When you listen to these people comment, when they're not reading their pre-written script on the teleprompter, they're measuring every single word they say. In their minds, they're saying to themselves, I have to be careful. I'm not going to say something that's going to blow my career up. I have to be careful. I'm not going to say something that the corporate boardroom is going to get pissed off at me about, or the advertisers are going to get mad and I'm going to get fired. That's the reality of cable news right now. That's why there's a mass immigration from cable to digital here, platforms like this. And the movement will only continue. Those network executives, they haven't even adjusted a damn thing. We got a lot to say about this, so let's react. So as he packs his beach bag and gets ready to head back to Delaware for good, Joe Biden very quietly had an extremely busy past 24 hours since we were last here with you. Now, that's to say he did anything good. He didn't. In fact, I'd argue that the current president's wave of actions were quite the opposite. Here's the headline. Old Joe just keeps waving that pardon wand around. He commuted 1,500 jail sentences and issued another 39 pardons yesterday alone. Joey continues to do right by the American criminal, which is exactly what he was expected to do. It's what he'll be remembered for. He sees the clock ticking, and as all of a sudden, he's capable of working at a normal speed. Biden's lame duck weeks have so far been highlighted by vacations, burning through tax dollars by giving billions of them to countries who will never, ever return the favor, and now more pardons and commutations. As Biden recklessly gives everyone on the left a clean slate, all of the political thugs, past and present, are starting to take notice. Slick Willie Clinton, Bill Clinton, is apparently discussing a potential pardon for his wife, Hillary, because they're allegedly terrified that Trump is going to toss Hillary Clinton in jail. By the way, right where she belongs. I guess this one makes a bit of sense because Hillary has certainly done a lot of pardoning of Billy over the years, don't you think, on their marriage? So it's only right that the former president goes to bat for his wife this one time. There's a lot to unpack here. First of all, anyone who is begging old Joe for a pardon right now is very clearly guilty of something. And I'm not talking about rolling through a stop sign or getting a parking ticket. If you're either asking for or receive a pardon from Joe Biden right now, the entire world will know that you're guilty of breaking a law in a relatively major way. The Clintons' best move here would probably just shut the hell up and simply fade into the darkness. Go on your vacations, sleep in your separate beds, stay out of the media. Wow, your lives, and shut the hell up, will you please, all of you. The less America sees of your faces, the better off you two will likely be. Biden also very quietly just extended the COVID Emergency Declaration Act until 2029. Now, why would he do that? COVID, for most of us, is just about, I don't know, as vicious as a bad cold, now maybe even a mild cold. Of course, there are some outlier cases. People get sick, get really sick. Some people even die, I get it. But that's the case, and that's what happens with basically every illness right now, even if it's just the cold or flu, bronchitis, strep throat. All of these illnesses take lives every single year, and none of them have been declared a national emergency. So back to my question, why would Biden extend this COVID emergency declaration for 4 more years? Well, it's got to be because Trump is going to be in charge of the country for most of that time, right? Of course it is. And correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it Trump who appointed a super team, including RFK Jr., to go after Big Pharma? Here's what it's all about. Always follow the money, folks. My first television show was Follow the Money. Big Pharma executives, well, they tend to line the pockets of Democratic candidates during basically every election cycle. What you're seeing here is Joe Biden, a masterclass in money laundering. The emergency declaration is going to protect Big Pharma during Trump's presidency. And by the time that the declaration expires, the Democrats will have likely benefited greatly from another campaign cycle headlined by massive donations from Big Pharma executives. Our president, this current president, is money laundering. And he's leveraging his executive authorities to do that. And yes, they want to call Trump the criminal. By the way, Big Pharma was the top donor to Joe Biden's candidacy, both times, 2020 and 2024, until he got bounced. Other news, take a close look right here at this picture. And we're showing, for those on radio, we're showing a picture of Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Now, do you notice anything different about her appearance? Well, that's right. She's wearing an arm brace and a sling. But why is that? Well, a congresswoman was violently assaulted in the Capitol building by trans LGBTQ activists. Why the hell is no one else talking about this? A man walked into the Capitol dressed like a woman and physically assaulted a female congresswoman at her place of work. Yet there are no riots, no internet threats, no stupid, ignorant TikTok folks targeting her attacker. Even the mainstream media and Mace's Democrat colleagues have been dead silent about this. If a white cop arrests a black criminal, throws him down, holds him down, they burn down cities. Yet, if a male trans dude activist assaults a sitting congresswoman, no one utters a word. This is possibly the best way to describe where we are as a society right now. And it's unbelievably sad. This is another one of those put politics aside instances. You should never lay a hand on a woman. That once went without saying. But a difference in opinion should not entitle anyone to physically target those who don't agree with their stance. These are basic American morals. Now, back to politics, because the Democrats are becoming the party of violence right now, right before our very eyes. Fortunately, Trump isn't going to let them get away with it and this type of behavior, but we still have several leaderless weeks, about 5 ahead of us. My advice would be to stay alert and stay vigilant, because there are violent, rabid Democrats running around America right now who've basically been told by their leadership that there are no consequences for their actions. I can think of Elizabeth Warren right now. Pocahontas yesterday said, listen, you push people too far, they'll take matters into their own hands. A senator, did I say Congress? A seated senator says, don't push people too far, they'll take matters into their own hands. You know what that means? She's condoning violence. She's condoning violence. How in the world is she getting away with this? I wish we had the soundbite. I asked them to cue up the soundbite. Anyway, speaking of threats to America and Americans, listen to what Secretary of State Antony Blinken just confirmed to Congress. Listen to this.
Of the approximately $8 billion that the international community, including the United States, has dedicated to Afghanistan, about $10 million of that is 0.1%, has no doubt gotten to the Taliban in terms
I don't care if it's that young penny. I don't care if it's a penny. I mean, for you to sit up here and admit that our enemies, I mean, these people swear to hate Christians and Jews, and that takes care of about everybody in this dadgum room. And we're sending them, I don't care if it's 1%, and you can, but let me tell you, $10 million is a hell of a lot of money.
So, you know, it's always funny, these conspiracy theories that they called us. They said, you right-wingers, you nut jobs, you're all about conspiracy theories. When we said that the Taliban, when we left Afghanistan, bad enough, horrible enough that we lost 13 soldiers, beautiful young men and women. We lost 13 families are going to grieve the rest of their lives because humiliation, Milley, Joe Biden, Lloyd Austin screwed that whole thing up, Antony Blinken. And then remember Joe looked at his watch on the dignified transfer when the coffins were coming off the Air Force transport. I mean, that's all bad enough. But we said, if you leave this money, these assets, these tanks, these airplanes, these helicopters, these rounds of ammunition, these guns, firearms, if you leave them behind, the Taliban's going to use them, and they're going to use them against us and our allies. We said it, and they called us crazy. They said we're nuts. Antony Blinken now, 5 weeks left in the administration, now admitting that some of the money, he says not enough. Only 10 million, bullshit. It's probably 10 billion, Anthony. Blinken just admitted that our tax dollars are somehow finding their way to the freaking Taliban. We're funding the people who skip around the country with rocket launchers and chant death to America. I don't see how the Democrats in this country have no issue with this. These people hate us and everything we stand for. I'm serious. Democrats, do you have any idea what would happen to a gay or transgender person if they engaged in any sort of activism in front of the Taliban? Why don't you try someone overseas and tell them to give it a try? I bet every cent I have that Donald Trump's America would suddenly look like paradise to you if you did. In 2021, Goya launched Goya Cares, a global initiative to protect children and educate children on mental health issues. Goya Cares is providing schools and community centers with a preventative education curriculum and a free assembly that includes the viewing of Goya Cares Press Pause. It's a short movie. Press Pause is intended to raise awareness regarding mental health issues, abuse, and bullying among children, teens, and in our communities. Press Pause is an educational film following 15-year-old Sofia Rodriguez as she navigates adolescence, self-doubt, and an abusive relationship amid her parents' turbulent divorce, set within the cultural context of her Hispanic family. The film explores her discomfort with unwanted attention from her uncle and the pressures of maintaining a facade of perfection in high school. It introduces the Press Pause campaign promoting kindness and advocacy, highlighted by Sophia leaving a note saying, "You matter," for a bullied peer. The film encourages open family communication about mental health and culminates in Sophia's transformative realization of her right to seek help. Through the power of empathy and small acts of kindness, Press Pause displays the importance of being proactive in supporting one's community and underscores the critical importance of self-advocacy. All right, now, time for today's Truth Bomb. My Bolling uncensored truth bomb, always uncensored. Well, they freaking lied about Biden's condition. They lied about Biden's condition, and this is a reason for this. There's a reason I'm saying this. We owe the left-wing nutjob media a debt of gratitude. We got to thank them. We got to thank them for a resounding win by Trump and on the right, and every single swing state, and the popular vote, and 312 electoral votes. We owe them this debt of gratitude because they lied about everything. Listen to Scarborough.
Comparing that guy's mental state, I've said it for years now, he's cogent. But I undersold him when I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been. Intellectually, analytically.
That was a few months ago. That was he freaking lie. Joe, your lips are moving, you're lying. Well, the media, they also lied about inflation. Listen.
It's highly unlikely that's going to be long-term inflation that's going to get out of hand. I don't know anybody who's worried about inflation.
Over the last couple of months, we actually saw it trended downward.
President Biden's chief of staff, Ron Klain, enthusiastically retweeted an economist who had said in part most of the economic problems we're facing, inflation, supply chains, et cetera, are high-class problems.
So they lied that Joe is competent and cogent. Scarborough said he's the best Joe he's ever been. Then they lied about inflation. They clearly lied. And they also lied about the border. And they said the border was fine. And they said the border was closed. And they said there was no problem with the border. America knew. America realized they were lying through their teeth. And they voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. And they overwhelmingly voted to stop the freaking lies. So truth bomb here, folks. Mainstream media, leftist media, we owe you a debt. We shouldn't be yelling at you. We should be thanking you for 47 being Donald Trump. Truth bomb. Well, we've been calling it the Trumpification of America, and the Trumpification continues full speed ahead. You must feel it, right? Do you feel it? I can feel it. Hell, even Dr. Jill is feeling it.
So I hope that you all feel that sense of, peace and light, and that just for a moment when you leave here today that you feel, a sense of joy. Because I think we all need we all need to feel joy now during this time of the season, during this time. So anyway, okay, now I'll start. You're all reading into that.
Wow, that's a super troll of Kamala Harris, right? Well, we're into it, all right. Yes, welcome to the bright side, Dr. Jill. Welcome to the bright side, Dr. Taco. If it ain't over till it's over, until the fat lady sings, maybe not. But it's over when Donald Trump rings. President Trump ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange this morning. What a beautiful moment that was to behold. Can you feel that? Can you feel the greatness again? Are you starting to feel how very real it is? Oh, yes, you start to feel your engines revving, right? That's right. The Trumpification o'clock is happening. Let's get into it. It's looking like another very bad week for those sick with Trump Derangement Syndrome because there isn't enough blue hair dye to help them deal with Trump wins left and mostly right. But somebody call a doctor. Could you ever have imagined this 4 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago? The sweet, sweet taste of victory after win after win, after years of the deep state. And yes, there is a deep state.
So, Director Wray, I'm going to ask you, is there a deep state at the FBI?
Congressman, I've never completely understood the term deep state. What I can tell you is that we have 37,000 men and women working in field offices all over the country and in legat offices all over the world. And they are people of character, of courage, of principle, of selflessness, and of patriotism. And that's the FBI that I see.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate that too, Director Wray, that lie. Yes, there's absolutely effing a deep state. And it came after President Trump for years and years. And now, well, now drum roll, please, because Donald Trump is Time's Person of the Year, as he should be. Comeback of the century, survives not one, but 2 assassination attempts, shuts down the haters, landslide win. The whole world is already bending knee. That politicized deep state moron, Chris Wray, he's resigning. He resigned yesterday. Let's get ready to rumble. Kash Patel. Can you even handle all the winning, folks? I know I can, and there's so much more winning to come, but CNN just can't take all the losing they're doing. They're crying about losing one of their willing deep state soldiers in Chris Wray.
I think that there is a very, very important principle to be maintained here, and that is the principle of the FBI's independence. And I think that under the circumstances, to me, my opinion, the best way to do that would have been to stay in his position until the new president came in and decided to take whatever steps he wanted to take. In other words, let the president-elect be the anomaly. Let the president-elect be the person who goes on record having undermined this principle of the independence of the FBI.
Wait, I'm listening to Andrew McCabe. Isn't that the guy who lied to Congress? Wait a minute. Trump is the issue here to you, McCabe? Trump's the one undermining important principles of the FBI? Which ones, Andrew McCabe? The ones who rifle through Melania's undergarments? The ones who called parents domestic terrorists? The ones who investigated anyone whose emails contained the words Trump or MAGA in the FBI? The ones who helped hide the Hunter Biden laptop story from hell? Which principles are you talking about here, Andrew? Yeah, a little reminder of the so-called principles that former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe stands for. Andrew McCabe made false statements to federal investigators. Andrew McCabe was one of the leading organizers of the false statements made by the FBI stating that the Steele dossier, remember that? Steele dossier was legit. The fake Steele dossier, the man-made bullshit Steele dossier. So sit the F down on those principles, Andrew McCabe. And by the way, let Kash Patel take it from here. We got it, okay? And by the way, CNN hired you, or MSNBC, which one of those nutjob networks. And while we're talking about it, for all this talk by the left, freaking out about Trump's revenge, let's just make one thing very clear right here and right now. If a judge, a prosecuting attorney, and a politician improperly uses the legal system to persecute a political opponent, Trump, that's called lawfare. And now if the victim, Trump, of that lawfare then goes and properly uses the legal system to punish a perpetrator of lawfare, that's not called lawfare. That's what we here in America call justice. But that doesn't stop them from claiming that President Trump is some sort of insane vigilante who's going to lock people up left and right, willy-nilly. All we have to do is win, and we're winning. And the likes of Chris Wray, Merrick Garland, Anthony Fauci, Nancy Pelosi, Adam Shifty Schiff, all karmic things and retribution in due time, folks. Those are the losers. Oh, and you know who else isn't dealing with Chris Wray's resignation very well? CBS's Norah O'Donnell.
We want to begin with major news at America's premier law enforcement agency that has far-reaching implications for U.S. national security. FBI Director Christopher Wray told his staff today that he's stepping down in January at the end of Joe Biden's presidency. The head of the Federal Bureau of Investigation is a profoundly important job. The director oversees 38,000 employees that Wray says take 50 violent criminals off the streets every day. He highlighted the Bureau's success in seizing enough fentanyl in 2 years that could kill 270 million people and thwarting attacks in major American cities. Donald Trump hired Wray in 2017, but now the president-elect complains that Wray, quote, invaded his home in the search that turned up those classified documents. And the man set to replace Wray is one of Trump's most fiercely loyal associates, Kash Patel. CBS's Ed O'Keefe leads us off tonight with more on what this means for the future of the FBI.
She sounded a little butthurt that Chris Wray stepped down, didn't she? Yes, Nora, we know the post is profoundly important. We get it. We also know that the FBI has been more focused on Biden's political opponents and MAGA than the other things you mentioned. And we also know how petrified all of you are about Kash Patel taking over. They are freaking out. We are winning. I'm loving all the winning, aren't you, folks? Oh, you want more winning? How about a little bit of Nancy Pelosi getting heckled?
Issues.
Them.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So you.
Don't worry about that. I'm from San Francisco. I'm used to this.
By the way, the heckling went on for at least 2 more minutes. And by the way, that's in New York freaking City, liberal bastion. I don't know about you, but I can handle winning. Can you? Oh, and Bill Clinton is whining now about old news on his worst half's behalf. Listen.
Well, they got a problem with her because first, she didn't do anything wrong.
Of course.
Second, she followed the rules exactly as they were written.
Mm-hmm.
Third, Trump's State Department found, they remember how the emails were such a big issue in 2016? Yeah. Trump's State Department found that Hillary sent and received exactly 0 classified emails on her personal device. It was a made-up, phony story.
Oh, so Billy, you got 99 problems, but the truth ain't one. And your wife has 33,000 email problems. Can the Clintons please just go away already? Isn't there a nursing home somewhere that might enjoy Bill's sassy saxophone skills? Oh, and hey, Democrats, what about that election denialism on the right?
Unlike in 2016, there was no outside influence like the FBI director interfering at the last moment in violation of 70 years of policy. And it changed 5% overnight. In my lifetime, I've never seen a poll change 5% overnight. So anybody that says that he didn't give Trump the election, needs to
think about it again.
Yeah. But this time, Donald Trump won the race fair and square.
This time, Donald Trump won the race fair and square. Bill, you were the president of this country for 8 years, and you let your wife send you out to do her dirty work. Aren't you embarrassed? You held the nuclear codes for 8 years. You're going to let 2-time mega loser Benghazi Hill do your dirty work like that? Oh, you want to talk about things that have changed since election outcomes? How about a little jeopardy here? Hey, Alex, I'll take election interference for 1,000. The answer: the existence of this person's laptop was hidden from the American public in a coordinated and highly corrupt effort among the leftist machine, the government, the legacy media, and big tech in order to help sway the 2020 election in Joe Biden's favor. The question? Ding, ding, ding. Who is Hunter Biden? Yes, that is correct. Give us a break, please. Bill, go smoke a cigar if you know what I'm talking about, will you? And yes, guess what other globalist person Hillary sent out to do her dirty work? That's right, good little China doll Justin Trudeau.
No, it shouldn't be that way. It wasn't supposed to be that way. We were supposed to be on a steady, if difficult sometimes, march towards progress. And yet, just a few weeks ago, the United States voted for a second time to not elect its first woman president. Everywhere, women's rights and women's progress is under attack, overtly and subtly. But I want you to know that I am, and always will be, a proud feminist. You will always have an ally in me and in my government.
Canada, can't you do better than this joke? Really? Trudeau, progress? Actually, progress means voting for the person who deserves the job, you dumbass. That's called progress. But the left rolled out their favorite Canadian globalist to whine and cry that DEI didn't work as they planned. Oh, you want some more wins for the week? Here's another one. Daniel Penny, the acquitted Marine from New York, well, he and his lawyers have announced they are very seriously considering suing corrupt Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg for malicious prosecution. And get this, Bragg was caught colluding with the medical examiner during the trial. Sue him into the Stone Age, Daniel. We back you. Can you handle all the winning, folks? I can. This is what we call the next phase of continued Trumpification of America. And everyone wants in. And guess who else wants in on all the winning now? Looks like Mark Zuckerberg wants in on all the winning. Zuckerberg's Meta has donated $1 million to President Trump's inaugural fund. The leftist machine is so desperate right now. Christmas is canceled. Well, I guess it always was for them.
How dare we speak Merry Christmas? How dare we?
How dare you, Greta?
How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
By the way, if you watch this show long enough, you'll see Greta Thunberg say, how dare you 1,000 more times. Yeah, Kamala, how dare you? Don't rob everyone of their Christmas just because your joy is gone. Folks, the 12 days of Christmas haven't even kicked in yet, but somehow it feels like Christmas is already here. All right, folks, we're going to leave you with this, a beautiful reminder of where we were and where we are now. From a mugshot to the cover of Time magazine as the president-to-be, it's amazing. Look at that side by side, folks. If you're listening on radio, we got Trump's mugshot on the screen left, and we got Time magazine's Man of the Year on the right. A lot can change in a very short period of time, but in particular, when you're on the right side of history, they came after President Trump because he's a disruptor, because he's a threat to the deep state swamp and the deep state and what they do hold dearest, which is the power and control over the American people. Trump threatened the power of the American people that they were so dearly holding on to. We're back. America's back, folks. We are so very back. That's it for us Thursday. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow, Friday, big day. A lot to talk about. Got some football picks for you. All right. Bolling out.